This parking ticket that proved my car slept somewhere else. The ticket fell out of her coat and told me where my car dreamed. It winked from the rug like a casino chip, cut stuck with a glossy grin, the kind of rectangle that never comes home by accident. Garage B, River Promenade, it said in a serif that believes in itself. Entry 1, 12 a.m. Exit Thra, Zara Thra, license. My license plate except the middle two letters were wrong. A near miss. A lie that had done its homework. In one corner, a pink lipstick half-moon curved over the barcode like a private eclipse. We were the sort of ordinary I never thought to bless out loud. Nusta slept with her palm open on my ribs like she was taking attendance of my breath. On Sundays, I ironed pillowcases because flat cotton feels like a promise heat can keep. Our balcony forgave being too narrow for two chairs by letting us take turns and calling it choreography. If rain came after midnight, we cracked the window and let the city wash its face while we washed each other's. Her knee hooking behind my thigh like a knot meant for boats, my mouth finding that nickel-bright patch beneath her collarbone where breath turns to heat, and for a while, language gives up. Drift learned our address before I admitted it had a key. Rosemary left the kitchen. Something mineral moved in, citrus poured over stone, a perfume that walked from room to room like it had prepaid the rent. Sound changed shape, too. Her phone adopted a two-note chime at 12, Zara sucks, and 12, 11 crisp, as if a smaller house had been built inside our house and installed its own doorbell. London, she said once, catching my look. Their morning keeps trespassing on my midnight. She started showering in the dark. Migraine, she told the mirror. I learned to shave by memory and called that loyalty because questions are expensive and answers demand collateral you don't get back. I held the ticket at arm's length and squinted until the numbers got tired of being sure. The plate was mine with an accent, the time stamp lined up with the new chime's manners. On the back, someone had scribbled a flourish on the letter E in gratuity. I knew that hand without having shaken it. A man who expects the room to finish his sentence. Evidence is the frightened man's hobby. I started a folder on my laptop named Lanes because I wanted the work to sound municipal. Into it went a photograph of the ticket, a screenshot of our bank's midnight generosity to an establishment called Hubbalun, and an image of the lipstick half-moon where it kissed a barcode. In the glove compartment, I found the obedient half of a cufflink, mother of pearl caught in gunmetal, the size of the coin you pay the fireman when you're short on courage. I pressed it to the window and watched my face bend, wrong inside its milky eye. We met in a stairwell because the elevator decided to teach patience. Stairwells tell the truth, she said, shoes in one hand, grin practicing trouble. On the landing, she pressed her thumb to the thin place at my wrist and told me to keep still while she memorized me with her mouth. Later, in my apartment, she slept with her palm over my ribs like gravity had asked for cosigners. In the morning, light lay along her shoulder like a sentence finally finding its verb. I took a photo of the air above it and promised the room we'd be kind to it. I went to the garage after lunch for air, which is what men say when they want truth from concrete. Down there, the city holds its breath and counts itself in oil stains. B-level smelled like damp metal and rosemary from someone else's dinner. On the pay kiosk screen, I saw an option that no one should ever have invented. Replay exit camera, verify plate. I tapped. The machine did its small arithmetic and then offered me a grayscale clup, Thra, Zara Thra AM, headlights blooming like a confession in fog. A coupe slid past the gate. The plate looked like mine if you didn't care about letters. In the driver's window, two silhouettes with the kind of closeness that edits posture. A wrist lifted. A jaw leaned toward a mouth that was not mine. The camera cut at the curb like it had known enough and didn't want to apologize for it. I went home with clean hands, and a pocket that had become heavier without adding anything. That night I cooked because heat persuades an hour to confess what it is becoming. I salted water until steam rewrote the kitchen's handwriting. Nusta came in with indoor wind on her cheeks, kissed my mouth with accurate affection, the kind that recruits your body while sparing your hope, and said, "Pitch turned a corner." "Which corner?" I asked the pot. "The one where we pretend we didn't already decide," she said into the refrigerator. Under the table her foot found my shin, our oldest code for stay. Later in bed, she crossed her knee behind my thigh and guided my hand under her shirt like a person switching on a lamp she trusts. My mouth found the coin of heat beneath her collarbone, and she made the low vowel that dims a city. We moved with the fluency of people who know where the light switches are and still pretend to be surprised. In the middle, her eyes went somewhere else and returned with apology penciled lightly at the corners. "Pencil erases clean if you don't press." I did not press. Garage B began to multiply. I saw it in the way she folded a scarf the building had never met, in the timid bruise of a wine stain on a cuff that had not eaten dinner with me, in the scent of lune salah, salted moon, burning from a candle I didn't buy and couldn't stop wanting to blow out. The ticket on the rug might have been a typo. The replay was. I texted my friend Mixum, who lifts heavy things and refuses to turn them into content. "Come by for pasta. Bring your silence." He arrived with bread and the exact face I needed, competent, unadvertised compassion. I also invited her cousin, Safala, who can sit with a lie without stabbing it out of pure sport. When the apartment had learned to smell like garlic telling the truth, I laid the ticket on the table face up like an extra plate. Nusta arrived at 23, our new interpretation of 15. She kissed me with accurate affection in front of them, practicing civilization like a sport. We ate. Laughter borrowed our mouths because it's an excellent squatter. After coffee, I slid the ticket toward her as gently as you pass someone a photograph of their good shoulder. "Your coat is generous," I said, aiming for gentle, landing on being alive. Mixum set his palm flat on the table, the international signal for "do not let the wood try to fly." Safa watched my face instead of the rectangle, which is a discipline and a blessing. "We should talk privately," Nusta said, the conference room arriving in our kitchen. "We will," I said, "but I need witnesses that I didn't dream a gate." They left us with a room we had taught to keep our heat. She turned the ticket over, then back, then set it down on the lipstick half-moon as if such kisses should be stored face to face. "I told myself it was a hallway," she said finally. "Somewhere I could stand without a tour guide. I liked the echo." She touched the cufflink half like a doctor testing for fever. "Is he married?" I asked, bureaucracy for ghosts. "Separating," she said. "A daughter, 9. "Do you love him?" The word is small until it sits down and crosses its legs. She tilted her head at the ceiling crack that looks like a river refusing to choose a mouth. "I love who I am when I stop narrating," she said. "With you I started describing myself from outside, like I owed footnotes to every breath." He turned the placards around and said he believed the painting without the text. She held my gaze the way people hold a glass that they know is already cracked. "I loved us like architecture," she said, softer. "I wanted weather." "We're going to separate," I told her. We did the clean work a knife does when it remembers it was made for fruit and ends up cutting rope. She nodded, and the hinge between her collarbones relaxed with a relief I wouldn't rename cruelty because it was honest. "Do you want me to go now?" she asked. "I want you to stop teaching my car to dream other garages," I said. "Pick a door. I'll take the other." Leaving only looks fast to bystanders. She took the hoodie, the charger that fits everything, and the scent that had colonized corners. She left the cufflink half, the candle, and the ticket that thought it had learned my letters. At the threshold she lifted her hand toward my wrist, the old code, thumb to the thin skin, and changed her mind midair. The absence of contact managed to leave a mark anyway. I was happy, she said, and greedy and afraid and sorry. You were alive, I said. So am I. He wrote once as scripts require. Corporate letterhead arranged into contrition, respect, timing, a hope we could proceed as juntman, a noun that fails most stress tests. I forwarded it to a lawyer whose office lives above a cobbler. The stairs smell like leather and old rain. She asked the only good question. Outcome or scene? Outcome, I said, surprising the piece of me that budgets for drama. Good, she said. Bring boring dates, doors, dollars, screenshots over speeches. One witness who loves you without auditioning, and don't send your heart by text. Judge's itch. I sent his email to Mexum, who replied with the three-word liturgy you laminate above a stove. Block, breathe, boil. I boiled water until the window wrote a gentler weather over the city's hard face. The bed learned my outline again. The two-note phantom chimed in my head at 12, 11 for a week, and then retired when I stopped setting a chair for it. I changed my phone's car app to forget every place it had tried to love without me, turned off Remember Frequent Destinations, and renamed the saved home to my name only. Faith should be findable. Desire didn't resign. It rearranged its shelves. Some nights my body remembers the exact weight of her knee hooking behind my thigh and the soft, unreasonable sound she made when my mouth found the place where breath becomes heat. Memory is accurate and unkind. I let it sing to the chorus, and then I make tea. The kettle's small scream is the only emergency I answer after midnight. I press my thumb to the thin place at my wrist where her old code used to land and listen to the sentence the body never misquotes. Here, here, here. Once, because endings itch, I drove to Garage B at 3:03 a.m., the hour the camera had done me the favor of honesty. The night porter raised the gate out of habit. I parked by a concrete pillar painted with a cheerful 7, as if floor numbers could be mascots. Heat lamps across the river pretended the month had not chosen its teeth. In my windshield, the ramp's red exit line looked like a mouth that had decided to stop lying. I breathed until the mirror stopped trying to tell me who I had been and went home under my own plate. Garage tickets want to be souvenirs. I refused them. I fed the rectangle to the shredder and listened as it learned humility in thin gray strips. The cufflink half I carried to a thrift store where orphans become inventory. It made a polite clink in a porcelain dish. The woman behind the counter said to the air, "Some pairs sleep better apart," and I gave her the nod you owe strangers who bless you without auditioning for your story. The last time I saw Nustia, the elevator performed its secular magic of coincidence. We arrived at the lobby on the same chime. She wore a coat the color of decisions and carried a paper bag of oranges like a rationed son. "Hey," she said, neighbor quiet. "Sleep." "Better," I said, and the word didn't ask for applause. She adjusted her scarf and didn't touch my wrist. I admired her restraint and then my own. The doors closed and returned each of us to our earned floors. I learned the boring heroics. I replaced the cabin filter before it lied. I taught the dashboard to stop guessing my destinations by turning off a setting I should have read about earlier. I vacuumed the floor mats until grit surrendered and silence got brave. I drove past Hubbalon without asking the building to explain itself to me. I parked on our street under a tree that forgives. I walked upstairs and set 2 chairs on the too narrow balcony and let one be empty without inventing a ghost for it. I opened the window an inch and let the city wash its face. I salted water. I turned the lamp low. If another ticket ever winks from a pocket and tries to tell me where I wasn't, it can keep its barcode and its serif. I know where my car sleeps. I know where I do. Morning finds a way through small glass. The latch catches on the first try. The engine turns over once like a promise heat is willing to keep. I sit, I breathe, I drive nowhere I can't afford, and when the light turns green, it's for me.